Charlottesville.
Well, Paul Zachos is here today, and he is going to talk to you about transactions and how to keep them moving forward so they don't end up terminating.
Okay, so
Which, when I see failed listings and failed contracts, there are lots out there. And so we need to make sure that we know how to keep them together. Yeah. So, if you want to give a little. Okay, so I'll have to tell you a little bit more about Paul. So he's hilarious. Am I setting you up for like failure?
Yeah, now I got it.
I'm sorry.
Bad joke.
Now you do.
Bad joke, yeah.
So Paul is actually a comedian. He actually has performed, and we have gone to see him. You could do the tiny houses thing. No, not no.
I still like the dentist joke.
No, you are not allowed to do the dentist joke. Yes. Anyway, so you've been a builder when the market crashed.
Crashed in 08.
Right.
So I had 15 houses priced from about 5.5, 550 to $1.6 million. So it was hard, and so I had to kind of revamp ourselves. So, yeah, I'll tell them a little bit.
Tell them a little bit about you, and then help them to keep these transactions together.
Okay.
We appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'll
Thanks
come
for
back
having
in
me.
a bit.
So this is good. So
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, so
What are you doing here?
this is good. I'm glad that I didn't know they're not live streaming this.
No.
All right, so a little bit about me. I'm actually Atlanta native, believe it or not. I was born in Decatur. It was DeKalb General was the name. I guess it's DeKalb Medical Center now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So went to Clarkston High School. Went to college in Valdosta. A friend of my best buddy was going to go down there and play football. He said, "Hey, come check out Valdosta." So I ended up in Valdosta. Got a marketing degree at Valdosta.
And that's where you got your accent.
My little southern accent. My European. I'm half Greek. Are you putting up a more European accent? So moved back to Atlanta. All my family had always been builders, contractors. My dad, it's funny, I drive through Virginia Highlands now and I see houses my dad used to own that I used to be this big that I used to paint. I remember, I remember painting that house. So if he only had them out, it'd be great. I wouldn't have to work. So, been married 29 years this year in August, and have one son that's a Eagle Scout, goes to Jacksonville State University in Alabama, and straight A's on scholarship, so we're very proud of him. My wife's a CPA, but she's also a licensed agent, so she helps me with all the transactions. So I do everything in the field, she does everything behind the scenes. What's unique about Keller Williams in general, are most of you folks new agents? How new are you guys?
Brand new.
Brand new. Okay.
I'm just auditing. I'm not even signed on to a company.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Good. So
6 months.
6 months. Okay, good. So relatively new. So I got my license when I got out of college. Graduated college in '89. I got my license, and interest rates were I think 12 or 14%. So right away I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So all my family's always framed houses and contracting. I did that to put myself through college. So I called my brother-in-law and said, hey man, I need a job. He's like, oh, come on out. So I'm framing houses and doing whatever I can do to make ends meet. And so got out of real estate, started building. I had a real successful career building. I worked for John Whelan Homes first, and I worked for Sharp Residential. And then I worked my way up, custom builder, and I was doing fewer houses, but stuff in the million range. I built houses for athletes, Cecil Fielder. If y'all ever heard of Cecil Fielder, I had him in a house. I had Jonas and Jarvis Hayes, and you guys were University of Georgia Bulldog fans. They were All-American basketball players from there. And then I partnered with Jesse Tuggle, who was an ex-Falcon player from Atlanta, and we built a couple of neighborhoods, and then the market crashed and burned. Ended up doing the Street of Dreams in Tributary, which is a development in Douglasville, which is where I live. And we won Best in Show, Best Interior Design in this wonderful, great show, and then the bank took the house, and that was the beginning of the end. So knew I had to revamp myself, got my license again. My wife was a controller for a builder at the time, although that builder was doing okay. Got so busy I needed her to come on to do the administrative side, and so that's kind of what we do. So we're a team. We did about 16 million last year. I think GCI was like 435,000, something like that. So, but it's just me and her, so we don't. I have people always wanting to join my team, but you know, after the housing crisis crashed and burned, you know, that responsibility is not something I want. So, but with that being said, we are a team in general, and that's why I'm here today. Is that I'm part of your team. When I first got here, short sales were a big deal. Short sales are not even on the market now, but they will be, because what we're doing today is exactly what got us in the place in the first place. They're starting to give loan programs to people who probably shouldn't be able to afford houses, and so we're going to be, you know, if anybody's talked about it, we're always in a 5 to 7 year cycle. So with that being said, we had a short sale person here. I remember coming in here and somebody wanted me to do a short sale. I didn't know how to do a short sale, and I'm like, how do you do a short sale? It's like, you contact a mortgage company. It's complicated. So we had an agent here, and all she did was short sales. I went to her and I said, I hear you're the short sale person. They said, yes. And I said, how does it work? She goes, well, I charge 25%. I said, I'm giving you half. Tell me how to do it. I said, I don't want to touch it. So that's kind of how we operate here. There's always a specialist in here. We got 400. We had our ALC. I'm on the ALC, which is the Leadership Council. We got 410 agents as of yesterday in this office. So if somebody in here is a specialist somewhere, and everybody's willing to help, which is really, really cool and really great in general. So I tend to get calls for builder questions because I'm a builder. I'm still a licensed contractor. I have a partner that kind of runs that, so I stay out of it because pricing is doing this, so I can't price something. Somebody says, hey, how much is it going to cost to do this? I have to call my partner because I just don't stay on top of the pricing like a lot of folks do. So with that being said, holding a transaction together is, don't freak out. Everybody tends to freak out a little bit because, you know, right now you guys are kind of drinking from a fire hose. There's so much information and it's scary sometimes. So what you guys need to realize is that you always have somebody in here that has your back. I screw up every piece of paperwork I touch, and my wife's there to fix it. And so we're complete opposites. You know, I'm a high D personality. I just, you know, get me to meet, get me in, get me out. I'm not a detailed person, and she is. So you know, it works in our relationship in life and our relationship at work, obviously. I'm going to answer your questions. Obviously, like I said, you don't want to freak out when you get somebody under contract because then it gets scary. People think once you get the listing, you're done, but as you all know, that your job really hasn't even started at that point. So obviously you get the house under contract, and then here comes the inspection, and that's what scares the crap out of everybody. You get that inspection report back, and just keep in mind that with a home inspector, and we have them come in here and they talk in our sales meetings and all that, which is great. Their job really is, they're making $600-700 to inspect this house. Their job is to beat the house up. Makes their client feel better that, like, you know, nobody's going to walk in a house and say, wow, this house was fantastic, nothing's wrong. Their job to justify that $500, $600, $700, whatever they're charging, is to find things wrong with the house. And you need to let your client know that up front. Mm-hmm. So communication with your client, and you guys will hear this during the whole process, but if you communicate and you explain these things up front, there's no craziness that goes on the backside. We were talking the other day, a lot of times we tend to avoid conversations with our clients. We get it listed and there's no showings, and you're like, oh crap, what do I do? House isn't showing, is it overpriced? So the more conversation you have up front, the better it is. You always get put on the defensive when you have to call your client and you have to say, hey, we've got a price issue, or we got to say, we need to lower the price, we're not getting any, you know, if it's too high, it's too high. We're not getting any calls, we're not getting any movement on the house. So with you doing that after the fact of you listing it, that's a conversation you don't want to have. But if you're sitting there during a listing presentation and you say, look, all I do is interpret the market. Here are the numbers, these are the comps, this is where I feel we need to price your house correctly. If they say, sorry, we want, you say the house is worth $350, they say, oh, we want $400. Say, well, look, that's fine, I understand where you're coming from, but this is what the market says the house is worth. So let me ask you this, if we price your house at $400,000, are you willing to drop it in a very, very short period of time if we don't get any activity? And then that way what happens is 2 weeks into it, when you know you're not getting any calls because he's $50,000 overpriced, you're calling him and he's going, oh crap, it's my agent, instead of the other way around. Because usually that's what you're doing, oh crap, it's my client, I gotta have an uncomfortable conversation with him because nothing's going on. So that's just,
Do you put that in your listing agreement?
I don't put it in my listing agreement, but I have that conversation with them. Scripts that you guys are learning and the stuff that you guys are doing are huge. You've got to know that. I don't use them, so I'm a little unorthodox in that I really lean on my building background of saying, I'm going to be able to get you through inspection reports. I'm going to be able to get you to that closing table. I'm going to be able to, get you through the process. Listing the house, that's easy. Everybody can do that. Everybody can take photos. We're going to market the house. I care about my clients. I'm going to get back to the other agent. I'm going to get feedback. We all do that. That's the norm. So you got to find that little niche that separates you. You may be, I'm a terrible decorator. I don't know how to, when people say, hey, we need you to come look at our house, I go, you got a friend? He goes, what do you mean? I go, do you have a friend? Because we all have that one friend. You go in your friend's house, you're like, dang, this is like awesome. How did you do it? And my wife's not built like that either. She's a CPA, so she's a numbers person, and she's very social. But it's funny, we got friends that are decorators, and she goes, look, I bought this vase, and I did that. And she'll put it, and I'm like, she goes, what do you think? I say, oh, it looks good. And then our friends will come in and go, oh my God, what did you do? And then don't add anything, just move everything around, and voila. And I'm like, man, this looks a lot better. And so some people just don't see like that. So what you tell people is find that specialty. If you're good at decorating, great. You're that perfect person to say, hey, I'm a specialist in staging houses. I'm that person that when I come in, get rid of that, get rid of this. And you're not hurting their feelings. Say, look, I'm looking at it strictly as another client's eyes. I don't want to hurt your feelings if they got their ugly grandkids on the refrigerator, or their kids or whoever.
Not ugly grandkids.
What's that? You say that's the one thing you can lie about. Oh, they're so cute. So that's just kind of the gist of things. And I think what I want to express to you guys today is don't freak out over the inspection report and stuff like that. You got to keep it together. And as you guys train and you get more experience and more transactions, I get transactions all the time that I'm thinking I've seen it all, and then I get transactions. Wow, I've never seen that before. So don't think that because we've been doing it longer and somebody else does bigger numbers, they haven't seen a situation where we don't have to reach out and ask for help. And that's exactly, me and Kelly Chancey were talking a few minutes ago. I was telling her about, I've only lost one listing appointment ever. And just because I can go in there and I can sell myself and I'm good at it, and this is how I lost the deal. It was a house in Douglas County. The house was worth probably $625,000, $630,000, and the guy wanted $700,000 for it. So I went in there. The other agent that came in was pretty decent agent. I've had some dealings with him before, so he's a good guy. And I went in, and it was a referral because I had sold this man's daughter's house. So I'm thinking, I'm in. But I never go in there thinking that. I still go in prepared to have the conversation with them that I'm competing against somebody. And you guys need to feel like that too. As a matter of fact, you need to act more professional if you're going in a situation where it's your girlfriend or your fraternity brother or your mom or your aunt. Say, look, I love you. I know, we're going to so-and-so's bachelorette party on Saturday, but this is a business meeting, and I want to have this meeting, I want to be very serious with you because I take my job serious. And so you may have to separate that a little bit from your friend or whatever, but that's okay. They'll respect you for that. They'll be like, wow, she's always, fun-loving and jokester and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, well, I will on Thursday once we start drinking. But right now, I'm just going to do, this is a business meeting. This is a huge transaction for both sides, and we just got to make sure we get it right. So these conversations having up front will save you tons and tons of heartache down the road when you got to have it down the road. What was I saying before I got it? Now, y'all will have to, I'm getting old, so y'all will have to remind me where I'm at on something.
So you lost a listing.
Yeah, so I lost the listing. So So it was between me and the other guy, and I said, you know, when will you be making the decision? He goes, in about 2 weeks. It's okay. So about a week and a half in, I called him, and I said, who did you go with? He goes, well, I decided to go with the other guy. I said, you know what? I said, I'm always wanting to get better at my craft. And I said, tell me why you picked him over me. Well, he asked for he said get the thing pre-appraised. Now this is what happens in the pre-appraisal process. If you pay for the appraisal or your client pays for the appraisal, you're gonna, come on up, I'll back up a seat. Right here, I got you a seat right here. Come on in, right here, got you a seat right here. We're gonna ask you questions. So, they asked for a pre-appraisal, and the guy ended up appraising the house for $689,000. I explained to the client that because he paid for the appraisal, it's probably going to be a little friendly toward him. Which is true. So he went with the other agent at $679,000. I told him that $650 was his max. So he went with him. Now, I don't know what the house sold for. It did go under contract, and I don't know if it's closed yet. But this is what I was asking Kelly about. You guys may be able to throw some stuff in on this too. If I would have went in there too high with the amount, I'm having that uncomfortable conversation with them down the road that, hey, I can't sell your house for $700,000 like you want, and I'm having that difficult conversation. I priced it correctly. I had the numbers to price it correctly, but he decided to go with the other person who said it was valued more. Now, I don't know where it's going to sell, but according to the numbers, it's going to be down there probably around the 640 to 650 number, which is exactly what I told him. So I told him the truth. Problem is, I ain't getting paid. So by telling him the truth and what it truly was valued, I set the other agent up in a beautiful position. He wins the listing. It appraises for 640. In the back of his mind, he goes, you know what? Paul told me it was worth 640. I'll go ahead and sell it for 640. And that guy gets paid. I don't get paid. And so, lesson learned. I don't know if I'll do an appraisal. You know, some people say that's a good thing to do, and then say I'll pay for the appraisal at closing when we close. $500 to make 16 or 17 grand, probably a good trade. But my wife's a CPA, she's crunching numbers. I know we're dead on the numbers. So that's a dilemma, and that's a strategy that I'll just have to work on myself and see how that plays out. So there's always something.
That just happened to me.
Yeah.
And so the funny thing is, I've been watching it. I told him it was worth $380. So it closed last Friday, $399, $10,000 in closing costs, and they got a brand new $10,000 roof.
That's $380.
$380.
Right. So
But they were like, "We're gonna get $400 for this." I'm like, "It's not worth $400."
Yeah. And,
But anyway.
And I've talked to Madeline Supes about it too, who's, you know, our superstar in the office, and she goes, Paul, I've done that and I've missed them. You know, she does a lot of high-end stuff. She goes, I've missed them by 100 grand. And she goes, you know, so you're going to miss some, you're going to screw a few up, but that's okay. The cool thing is that you've always got somebody in here to help you do what you need to get done. So whatever your specialty is, you know what it is. Could be negotiating, could be, you know, you may just have a ton of friends, whatever it is. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. So as long as you're honest with them up front all the time, you know, things will, doesn't matter what you don't know, because you can always ask somebody. You know what, I'm not really sure about that, but I have somebody on my team that can, because I'm on your team. Even though most of you guys have just met me today, Paul Zachos is on your team. And when they say, you know, who do you have on your team? So I got a builder on my team. I use Jay Leslie all the time for land. You know, these guys are the best of the best. They sell land. You know, they had a deal that went Whole Foods. You know, they sell land to Whole Foods. So these guys that are in this office, the people in this office are at the top level. So when you say, hey, do you do commercial? Before they even get it out of their mouth, say, yes, I do commercial. I got somebody on my team that does commercial. So it makes your world bigger, and you got to make your world bigger in this business. Keep in mind, so I live in Douglasville, but I sell a lot on the west side of town, but I also do a lot of in-town stuff. So I have people, I'm in a unique situation. I'm 54 years old, where it's unfortunate that my friend's parents are passing. So I'm selling a lot of their houses, and they're like, well, mom and dad are passing, so, or they're going to a nursing home, we're gonna sell their house. I wanna get my kids in a better school system, so they may be coming to Morningside, or they may be going to West Cobb or something like that. So I always, or probably 90% of my transactions, I get both. I sell and I help them find. The great thing about this company is that you guys can do that too. They're leaving the state or they're in state, doesn't really matter. You always have somebody. And I'll tell you a situation that I did with my construction business partner called me and he said, hey, mother-in-law lives in Kansas City. And he goes, can you help her sell a house? I said, absolutely, give me the address. Called up there, interviewed 2 agents. One of the agents I could tell was elderly, and I said, here's the deal. Lady's going to a nursing home, need to sell her house. Here's the address, and you know the area. Yes, it's a hot area. Is that house going to sell? It will sell immediately because it's transitioning from old people moving out, new people moving. It's probably a Brookhaven. And I said, what's the house? I said, let me guess. 1960s, carport, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Exactly. So I was able to read in exactly what she said. And then I interviewed another person, a little bit younger, could tell she was super, super aggressive, but I felt the older agent would fit better with the older lady. Sold the house in a day. I was a rock star, got my 25% referral. Never saw a house, don't know where the house is, don't plan on going to Kansas City. But so make your world big. If you guys haven't done a transaction right now, it doesn't matter. Make your world big. Let them know that, hey, I've got a Keller Williams office in Charlotte. I've got one in Miami. And you get on the phone just like you guys are making your calls now. You get on the phone and you're interviewing agents or you're talking to agents just like you would, somebody else. So did you have a question back there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I missed the first part of the appraisal. Did you recommend getting a pre-appraisal?
If you can't find, if you got a high-end house or it's very, very unique and you think the listing price is going to be high, somebody, if you got a $700,000-$800,000 house, absolutely. Paying $400 or $500 for it, I think is a good thing to do. If you've got a $200,000 house that you know is worth $200 and they think it's worth $275, I would say, look, you may not be that confident now in doing it, but you guys will turn down listings. And you probably say, there ain't no way in heck I'll ever turn down a listing. You will. When you get busy enough and confident enough in your presentation, if you're sitting in an office, if you're sitting in there and you know the house is worth $400 and they say we've got to get $525 for it, you're going to look at it and say, I can't help you. But please, would you allow me to stay in contact with you, and then you'll be the backup agent. It's always great being the backup agent. The first agent gets their nose bloody because they don't know what the heck they're doing, or they price it wherever the client wants. You come in, you slip in there underneath there. Now they realize that, you know what, I wasn't happy with the price, but they told me the truth. So tell the truth and it will always get you where you need to be. Maybe not immediately, but it may be 6 months down the road when that listing expires. So just keep that in mind. I don't think, the guy asked me if he thinks he should have gotten an appraisal, and I said, I don't think so, because I had the appraisal. I had comps. And I'm going to be real curious on what that house sold for, but I bet you it's right at the number, but I still didn't get paid. So that's the dilemma I'm having. I'm thinking about the one that got away, not all the other transactions that I did in the last 60 days. I shouldn't think like that, but that's just how I think, unfortunately. Keep in mind on appraisals, inspection reports, that all of that is just part of the process. And what tends to happen a lot is you get a listing and you get it under contract right away. Always, 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 always be nice with the other side, because this is what's going to happen during the training. You're gonna be in charge, and then something's going to happen. It's like, oh crap, the other side's got the leverage, and then you're like, then things correct themselves, and then so if you sit there, perfect example, had a house listed in Douglas County, $239,000, got 10 offers on it in a day. That's the most I've ever gotten. That's never happened to me. I'm sitting there with my chest poked out. We take the highest one, we drive it up to 248, doesn't appraise. It appraised for 239, which is what I listed it at. So I had to go back to my client, say, luckily they didn't have a mortgage on the house. It was a pretty unique situation, and so we're going to close it at that 239 number. But keep in mind that during the time that you get a house listed to the time you get to closing, that's a long time. If it's short, it's 30 days. But going 45 to 60 days is also possible. But during that time of the transaction, you're going to have leverage some, the other side's going to have leverage. So always be nice, because you want to be nice when they have the leverage. So don't be a jerk and say, yeah, you can send it back up if you want, but I got 10 offers, I got it made. Don't think like that. Be nice to them, keep their number, and because it will balance out at the end. And that's why, when you look at our values here, it says always be nice. And it's hard for me to be nice sometimes, because I deal with a lot of people that are incompetent. We all do. And it's going to be frustrating for you guys, because as you guys train and you learn more and more and more, you're going to realize that sometimes on the other side of the transaction, you're just like, man, they're just useless. My wife is a perfectionist on paperwork, and I went in there one day and I finally told her, I said, look, why don't we do this? Because we were getting so frustrated with the other side of the transaction, just not doing what they needed to do and following timelines. I said, let's assume that we have to do both sides of the transaction, and then we'll never be disappointed. So think like that, and then what'll happen is, depending on what area you live in, you're gonna see another Keller Williams agent on the other side of one of your deals, and when you do, it's gonna make you light up, because you're gonna think, thank God you got somebody that is as competent as I am, and we want the same goal, is to get to the closing as painless as possible, and work through that process. So be nice. Don't act like you know everything. If they're rude on the other side, they're probably going to be, as this market starts to slow, they're going to be the first ones out of the business. So hang in there tough and be kind. Inspection reports. No, we talked a little bit about that, but contractors, things like that. The way that I always negotiate, one of the things I do on keeping a deal together, when you have somebody filling out a seller's disclosure, you don't give them anything. If they're like, I'm not taking that pool table, we're not putting it on the disclosure. I'm not taking the refrigerator, I hate that refrigerator, it works fine, but I'm buying a new house and it's got a refrigerator, I don't have anywhere to put it. You don't give anybody anything, because you're still negotiating. Once you write that contract, you're still negotiating until you get to the end. Because you're going to have something on that inspection report they want fixed. They want you to paint the dining room, they're going to want you to do this, there's something leaked, they want a pallet of sod, whatever that is, there's always going to be something to negotiate. But you never want to tell them no for everything. As you get better at this, you'll realize, and of course, a lot of people will realize that some things are very, very minor, some things are obviously major. When they say we want a new roof, then that's a big ticket item. But if when they say we want you to replace the carpet in the bedroom, may not be a bad deal to keep the deal going. Yes, ma'am.
That was very good. So I just put my house on the market.
Yeah.
And I'm literally about to send the seller's disclosure right now, but I know I'm not taking any of the
Removable appliances.
the appliance, right? So I shouldn't put that.
No. They're going to ask for it, and that's cool. And you don't, and since you don't care about it, that's great. But how about this? So the deal goes down, and they say, we want your refrigerator, and we want you to paint the master bedroom. You say, you know what? I'll let you have the refrigerator, I ain't painting the master bedroom. They feel like they won. You won definitely, because you don't care about the refrigerator. But at the same time, it makes them feel like they want to say, if you say, no, I ain't painting, and you can't have the refrigerator, then they're going to be like, well, she's just hard to deal with, let's go find another house.
But what if they don't ask for the appliances? Or what if it's not there and they don't sell it?
You can sell it, donate it. I actually run a ministry out of Douglas County where we take used furniture and appliances and we give them to the poor folks in Douglas
Yeah, there's
County.
lots of those around.
So there's
I
always.
mean, I have like really high-end appliances.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they wouldn't want them. I'm just asking.
Yeah, they're going to ask for it, but you don't give them anything. And when that contract goes, when they write it, they're going to ask for it. They're going to ask. They may ask for your washer and dryer too, because it's nice front loading. Yeah. But you're going to have to give them something, and what you want to give them on your end is the least amount of possible, the least monetary amount. Now look, on the other side, it's the same way. If you're representing that buyer, you want it all. But you got to make sure. Remember, when I talk about the swing in the relationship of writing the contract and accepting the contract with the other agent, it swings both ways. So if you're representing your buyer, I mean, I had being out in Douglasville, you run into a four-wheeler or two. There was a four-wheeler in the garage, we asked for the four-wheeler. We didn't get it, but my buddy goes, man, I'd like that for. I said, well, ask for it in the contract. And so we asked for it, we didn't get it. As a matter of fact, it made the dude really, really mad. You can, you take my dog, you take the wife, the kids, you can't have my four-wheeler. So it was kind of a funny transaction. But so there may be a particular there may be a table that's in the kitchen that fits that room perfectly because it's a weird. Heck, ask for it.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you're going to get it, but at the same time, look at it like this. Let's say that you're with your buyer, and your buyer asks for all these things. They're going to know in the back of their mind too, I can't say no to everything. And you may not really like that table, but you're going to say, well, I kind of like it, but ask for it all. Don't give anybody all. And all of that's negotiating. So just make sure you're negotiating all the way through the contract until you get to that end, till you know it's clear to close, you've agreed on everything, you're good to go. So don't give anybody anything and don't take it.
So to answer the question, she's not gonna put her appliances on the seller's disclosure.
Sure. The attached appliances, your oven, your stove,
Yeah, right.
if your microwave's above the hood, or your microwave's installed, then absolutely. But the refrigerator and your washer and dryer are not appliances that normally come with that.
Right. So
Yeah.
so unless they ask for it, you're gonna say no. So you're gonna get a refrigerator, or you're just gonna hold it out for.
You hold it out
I'm
to
gonna take it off the disclosure.
That's
I
right.
don't want it.
Right.
I'm gonna take it off the disclosure.
Right. Yeah. So you're
Yeah,
not
so
gonna put it
you
on.
hold it out, and all right, worst case scenario, they got their refrigerator, they don't want your refrigerator, you got a great refrigerator, then you put it on Craigslist and you sell it for $1,000. And there you go. So you're gonna be okay, but you don't give them anything. And that's just how, they may ask for your back patio furniture. If you got some great patio furniture that goes with a really cool table, and you don't want to move it because it's made out of granite and it weighs 5,000 pounds, you're like, I can't get anybody to move it. You don't give it to them until they ask for it.
Yeah, so like when I moved in the house, they left a flat screen on the wall in the living room, but it's like high up and it's connected to stuff behind the wall. So
Sure.
They were like, no, but they didn't say it beforehand. And I got the keys and I walked in. I was like, well, thank you.
Yeah. So exactly. Yeah, you're not gonna get in trouble for leaving
Right.
something that nice in
Right.
most cases.
Right.
But that's how I would deal with it. Just don't ever volunteer stuff for free until they ask, because you're still negotiating until you get to that closing.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Have you ever dealt with any sellers that were just stuck on not giving any money towards closing? Like, just for the principal, they just say, I pay for my own closing.
Right.
I'm not helping them with this. And it'll be like I'm showing them on paper, you have two offers. It's the exact same offer. One is $250 with $10,000 towards closing. The other one is $240. Like, it's the same thing.
Right.
And they don't, like, the wife just was set on, I don't want to give nothing towards closing. You ever dealt with anything?
Yeah, and I think what you got to realize with folks at different price points, if you're dealing, in my day when I was building years and years ago, I had friends of mine that were building starter homes. Starter homes, those vinyl siding, split foyer, 1,500 square foot house, they were $99,900, $100,000. Now a starter home, I've got a subdivision in Ghana that I work for a guy. A starter home now is $225 to $250. That's really the starting point. So it's a different world now. What you got to do with you got a few different options on that. So you got somebody that has given you an offer, they want $10,000 in closing costs. If you think the neighborhood will hold the appraisal, you can add that to the closing costs. Just do the math for them. So hey, we're going to add. The offer is $240 with $10,000 or $250 with $10,000 in closing costs. We're going to go back. We're going to counter back at $260 with $0 in closing costs, and your net's the same. So do the math for them, because that's the bottom line. They're looking at they're running the numbers down. Hopefully, it's an area to where a $10,000 swing may or may not cause the deal. Because if you add $10,000, it's got to appraise for $260 now, right? Because they're going to finance that closing cost. But you've got to be able to explain to people, and again, this is that conversation I tell you to have before you have to get to that point. In the front of this, say, look, I'm just telling you, Mr. Seller, in this market, people are broke. Nobody has any cash. You know, all these loan programs that people are using, whether it's FHA, you know, I'm dealing with one now. I've got a property that's about $400,000, and we're dealing with 100% VA financing. So it's 100%, but I've got to jump through a lot of hoops to give them all this documentation on this house, because it's a unique house. It's 3 lots combined. A lot of stuff going on here, so I'm gonna have to really work hard to get the deal done. So because there's so many different finance options out there, there's ways to get through it. And again, so you're asking this question about closing cost stuff. Our finance folks here, Kim Neely or one of these folks up front, you go to them and say, hey, here's the situation. So, like I said at the beginning of this, make your world big. And what I mean by making your world big is that I'm a builder and I'm on your team. Supreme Lending is on your team. You've got tools to all these folks. I don't think you got to figure this out yourself. You got a residential house that you did, and they said, yeah, I own that commercial lot in the front. You go see John Thompson, or you go talk to the guys at Atlanta Land Group, depending on, you know, what type of property it is. You've got guys on your team that can talk you through, and then you're a superstar. Like, oh yeah, I got commercial people on my team. I don't personally do commercial, I got people on my team. So when you act like that, they're like, man, he knows everything. He's got it, you know, he's gonna be able to answer all my questions. And that's exactly right. You can get on the phone, you can look on our vendor list, you can get and you build those relationships with people. I've got 2 different, I use Drew Lyles for home inspections, and then I've got a guy in Douglasville that's about 75 years old. And so I get an older house. He's been an inspector for 50 years basically, since he got out of high school. He knows everything. But if I've got a newer house and with technology and stuff like that, he's not the guy for that. So you're going to find guys that work for you. You know, right now you just may have one guy that does everything, and that's cool. But as you start talking to people and build your relationships with people in here, and they ask you a question, you're going to be able to answer that question for them. So just
That's a good point with the older house. Have an inspector that knows an older house and ins and outs of that, and it's someone that has new construction and new homes endpoint.
Well, it's frustrating for me because me being a builder, in most cases, I know more than the inspector. I don't play that card because I don't want them to beat the house up too bad. I got to show them respect. But you know, and I don't mean this to offend anybody, but you know, if I sit there and some dude pulls up at the house and he's 25 years old or 26 years old, to me, he just ain't got the crap kicked out of him in life yet enough to know everything, you know?
Right.
And so that's just part of the process. So if I've got an older house, you know, it ain't gonna have double pane windows. It's not gonna have, you know, low E windows in it and stuff like that. Whereas a new guy's gonna say, oh, these windows. Well, it was code then when the house was built. That ain't what you're supposed to be looking at. You're supposed to look at what's going on here now. And so he's good at doing that. And then Drew Lyles has been doing my stuff for me on the upper end and the newer stuff, and he's done a great job. He's one of our, you know, preferred vendors here, and I've got, you know, his guys are really good. So that's what you got to do. Make your world, you know, don't get down that rat hole. Your world is big here. You know, it's not just, you know, if you're working, what area of town do you live in?
Decatur.
Okay, so is that going to be your general area where you?
Yeah, Gwinnett, Lithonia, Decatur, Grayson.
Yeah,
and,
so areas that you know
Wilmington.
that you're comfortable with.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, what's going to happen is, you know, you're going to work that area, you're going to be comfortable in that area, you're going to know that road, you're going to know that house, and that's all great. But then when that person, you're like, well, where you got, you know, your first question out of your mouth when you're sitting down with them and you're planning to list their house, you go in there with the attitude, number one, that I'm listing it, and then number two, where are you going? I want you to start thinking about transaction 2. And if she goes, oh, we're moving to Charleston, really, do you have an agent up there? I've got a great team up there too. You know, and you're going to be an exact reflection of that team up there, because they're going to say, well, she's a pro, she hangs out with pros, the person up there is going to be a pro too. And then you interview those and find that person for them.
Can I give Joseph a script? Joseph, you asked that question about.
Oh, script girl. I just told him I didn't do scripts. I'm glad you didn't hear that. You asked me to leave.
Yeah, tell me why you don't do scripts. I want to hear that.
So when you have somebody that doesn't want to pay closing costs, so I tell this to a seller in a consultation, especially in a price point that's that starter home price point. So we're going to get buyers that have great jobs and great credit. They're just cash poor. they don't have enough cash in the bank for closing costs. So you're gonna have to be open to paying their closing costs because they have great credit and great jobs and they'll qualify and will get closed. So I usually set it up when I'm doing the consultation and a starter home price range. Just,
And again, those conversations up front will save you down the road. You know, because if you're sitting there and you're telling them that, say, you know, yeah, most of these folks are going to be cash broke, those are going to be the offers that we're getting. You're not having that with them after 3 or 4 offers that come across the table that they're all asking for closing costs. You've already had the conversation with them.
I mentioned it to them in the beginning, and she still told me right then and there, she said that that's not the offer that she wants, whatever. She was tough. The husband just didn't care. But I was able to, she kind of understood where it was similar to what you were saying with the appraisal part. I said, you kind of benefit more if you take an offer for what they just offering the 240 versus the offer where they offering 250 with 10,000 towards closing. Because with the offer of 240, you still have that cushion where it only has the price for 240. With the one for 250 with 10 grand in closing, I mean with the one for 240 or whatever, it's gonna have to appraise for more money. So then you end up.
Well, and keep in mind that when you end up being the pro in the transaction, when you talk to the other agent, have them get qualified with Keller Mortgage. You know, you can use Keller Mortgage right now. Talk to Kim Neely about what they can, what type of help they can help with the transaction. We had our ALC meeting yesterday, and I was talking about having a couple of transactions get right up to the closing table and then fail. And so I asked Kim goes, get them to pre-qualify. This was the conversation I said, how do I get past that? She goes, get them to pre-qualify with me, and if the house is between 150 to 250, I'll pay $1,000 in closing. So what I'm going to do from here on out, so that I don't get 30 days down the road in the transaction and blow up on me, I'm going to have them say, look, you can use your lender if you like, that's great, but you still need to get pre-qualified with mine. And then Kim's going to tell us the truth, say, look, they got some problems. Or, so you end up with multiple offers, or you end up, but what you're going to be doing, your job is to get to the closing table for your client. Again, when I say this, in the situation I am, when I tell my wife that we're going to have to do both sides of the transaction, you may have to do both sides of the transaction very, very early on in the transaction. A lot of times I'm hoping that it doesn't come to that point, but in a lot of cases, you're at the beginning of it. So, with that being said, say, look, why can't your client pay any of their closing costs? You're asking, you can have the blunt conversation with the other agent, and you're going to know right away that other agent's experienced enough to maneuver through a process like this. Not say, look, I got somebody on my team, we may be able to make this deal work. You're trying to keep that thing together. You don't want it to just blow up because she says, no closing costs, we're done. So, well, wait a minute, let's go through this thing and see. I was telling them about a transaction that I have going on right now. It's a starter home. The house is 230 in the 230 range. Which is just crazy. I can't believe that's a starter range. But the house is $230,000, and it's the same. It's actually the same house as the 239 that I had. The appraisal didn't make it. Well, my first question, I'm looking after myself. I'm the listing agent, right? So I'm trying to get the most money as I can. It didn't appraise, so I went to the other agent. I said, I don't think they're going to take the appraised amount. I said, how much more money can your client bring to the table? All right? Nothing wrong with asking that. And the agent's going to say, well, let me check. They call back, and this was the answer on this house. $650. So what does that tell you about the buyer?
They have no money.
They're broke. They're broke. Now let me tell you how you guys should have responded to that. That's how I know, number one, the client's broke, the agent doesn't know what they're doing. Your response should have been that my client will not pay more than the appraised value.
I would have thought that. That would have been the first thing.
So that's what you tell them, and then what do? I go back to my client and say, this is what it appraised for, here's the problem. I have to tell you, Mr. Seller, you don't want to take that number, that's the appraised amount. Guess what happens if we let this deal go? someone else is gonna come and it may appraise for less next time, or it may appraise for the same. So what do you wanna do? You wanna take the deal? They're gonna be pissed, but they're gonna take the deal. But that's the response, because now I know more about the other side that keep those cards close to your chest when you can. Now I know more about the other side than I really needed to know. If that agent was savvy, he should have said, they're not gonna pay any more than the close. And that's the exact right answer. You don't pay more than the appraisal, unless your client just has to have it. You give them that option.
And you have to make sure you're looking at the appraisal, because the appraiser may not have done a very good job.
And I called the appraiser. A lot of times they won't talk to you. And I got this appraiser, and she was very, very open. She goes, I can't find a comp. And I looked at the comps on there. She goes, I went 5 miles out. She told us all about it. The problem is that my client had a super duper, fantastic, excellent condition house in a bad neighborhood. That's the skinny. And it's unfortunate, but you're going to have those. And sometimes you're the bearer of bad news, but at the same time, you're just trying to get them out of a bad situation. Yes.
Regarding the appraisal, does it stay with the house for 120 days?
I believe FHA does stay
6 months.
6 months. And in knowing that, talk to your Supreme people about that. So you got a conventional loan that's less money. Give that option to your client. Say, look, you're going to take $5,000 less, but it's conventional, which means number one, they're putting 10 to 20% down, which means they're stronger financially, which means better buyer, a little bit less money, but we have a better chance of getting it to the closing table. Whereas on the FHA, you may not, and you got the FHA inspection to go through. Yes.
So 2 questions. One, I heard that if you have a conventional loan, and let's say the appraisal comes in, I don't know, $3,000 less, some conventional loans that will push it through anyway. Is that true?
I'm not sure about that, but getting them, talking to Supreme and getting them pre-qualified through our folks here, now you may be on the other side of the transaction, they're going to help you with that as well. So don't think that if you're not using them, well, I'm not really using them, I can't ask them a question. They're here for you to ask them a question.
I would
I
say
don't
just
know.
looking at that, a bank is not going to loan, they're not going to push it into the range of the value, because they're taking a chance on somebody walking away from the house. So I don't know of any bank that's going to up it to the value, even if it's just $1,000 off. It's up to the appraiser to decide that number.
And this is what I do on a lot, because I know I have, what area do you live in and do you work in, or what do you have an area that you're kind of?
Smyrna, Marietta.
Okay, see, those are good areas. Unfortunately, I'm in Douglas County and it's bad. What I do for my appraisers is, you got to work all the way through the transaction. When you get it under contract, your job really is just starting, just like I said before. I pull my own comps. I pull the key out of the super lot box. And when they call me and say, hey, this is the appraiser, I need to go look at, whatever the house is, I'm like, great, sorry, I don't have a key there, the contractor has. I said, when are you going to be there? I have to meet you. And I put together a packet, and I pick his comps. And I look them right dead in the eye, and I say, I know you have to do your own homework, but I did pull some comps for you and stuff to kind of help you. They're only looking at 3 to 4 comps, so they throw one turd in there, it kills your average. So that's just keep in mind. Was that not a good
Turd.
term?
I just made me giggle.
Have y'all, you millennials never heard that term?
It's funny,
So-
it's awesome that you think I'm a millennial, but made my day.
So that's part of, that's what we do. And I do that because, I do it because of necessity. I don't want to have to do that. I don't, when I come down here and I fear everybody, there's no appraisal issues in Brookhaven. But I got them every day in Douglas County.
But Paul, I do it on every listing I have.
Yeah.
Every listing, and I'm East Cobb, Smyrna, Chastain.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is, does the appraiser know the area? And I think I've said this before, I had an East Cobb listing, and I always ask that question when they call me to make the appointment. And I said, so where do you live? just a conversational question. He said Athens, Georgia.
Oh, wow.
I said, what do you know about East Cog? He said, not much. And I said, I would love to meet you at the house and give you a packet. He said, I would really appreciate that. Now listen, not all appraisals are gonna be so nice about it. And you back off if they say no, but I always ask where they live, because if they're not familiar with the area, I'm definitely meeting them with a packet, and I always do meet them with a packet.
Well, and that's why I do the soft approach and say, sorry, the contractor has the key to the house, I'm gonna have to meet you there to get you in. That way, that's non-threatening, and he doesn't know I'm gonna drop a package on him, but I am. And, you know, for a while, I think they know, you know, for a while when all this transitioning stuff was going back where everybody was nervous about appraisals, they didn't even know the price of the house. And so you can't unhear something. And I would hand them that and I said, look man, I'm just trying to get my 218. Or I'm just trying to get my 325. You can't unhear something. To me, psychologically for him, he's gonna say, you know what? Looks like I'm valued at about 318, but he needs 325. Let me see, maybe he'll work a tad harder to get me to 3 1/4. I don't know, but you can't unhear something, you know? Yes.
Okay, so again, I put my house on the market and I just got an appraisal done just for my sanity.
Okay.
And,
Now, did you do one yourself before you paid for one, just to see if you were close, to test your skills?
I did, and we were off
How much?
$5,000.
That's good.
No, it's not, because
What's the price point?
$250.
Yeah. You being $5,000, if you being $5,000 within a professional that does this every single day, I think that's a very positive.
Well, here's the thing. So we kind of butted heads, because he walked in, he's like, the house is great, I don't see anything, you know, whatever. And then he got stuck on the backyard. I mean, stuck on the backyard. So the backyard is fine, it just doesn't have any grass.
Yeah.
Right? Well, every homeowner before me didn't care about the grass. I didn't care about the grass. It is what it is.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to come put grass in when they buy the house, great, wonderful. I'm not doing it. It's not done.
Yeah.
And he wanted to give me literally a 30-minute conversation about not having grass back here. So when he called me to tell me that he was about to send me the report, he was like, well, I'm going to appraise it at this, but if you get the backyard done, he gave me a $10,000 to $14,000 more for the backyard. I'm like, if I can get a $14,000 return on a backyard, where is that neighborhood? Because it's not mine.
Yeah.
And I'm moving there. That is insane. But he was just so stuck that my backyard did not have grass on it. And he was like, well, if you don't want to do the backyard, this is the number that I'm giving you. I was like, oh my God, I cannot deal with you. Because I was going to say, hey, you know, I already got the appraisal done for the, you know, the buyer or whatnot, but I can't even, it was just wasting money. I can't even use it now because he was so stuck on the grass. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know any area, unless I'm about to put a whole gazebo and whatever back here. If I can live in the backyard,
Well,
$14,000.
so what you gotta do in a transaction, you know, you're, you know, first of all, be nice. I can tell you're a little firecracker. I can tell you're tough. Which I like. I like tough. You're tough.
You gotta be a bulldog sometimes. That's a script.
There you go. So you stood your ground because you took it personally on your particular part. Everybody else takes it personally too, and you got to separate yourself from the transaction of it or the business side of it versus you took it personal because he didn't like your backyard, and that's okay because you know so you just got to, but you got to be able to get past that part of it, but I like you standing your ground, but you tough gal, so that's good. I like that part of it, but keep in mind, fight like that for your client on either side, but you need to make sure that you let your client know that, hey, because when they see that kind of enthusiasm on you working on their behalf, they're gonna like that. They're gonna like, yeah. So that's a good thing, and I get it, and I understand it. And so, you know, what do? You talk to his boss and say, look, or do you say, you know what? I've got a landscaper. I've got guys quoting it right now. Can you go ahead and give me the price of it that it did have grass in here? you know, we're not. That's a little bit of a fib.
The only thing, the thing that got me was, you know, when I did my appraisal or what, and I had a VA loan, and you know, they are the worst.
Yeah.
They're the absolute worst. They are like, there's a scratch right here. So my backyard has never been a problem. It's never been a problem for anybody, and he was just
That's
so
just one person's opinion.
Right.
stuck on
See,
it.
look, and that's exactly right. What's going to happen is you're going to have a deal where an inspector comes through there, he inspects the house, the deal blows up, but the homeowner looks at it and says, you know what? Since we lost the deal because he wanted this, this, and this, then I'm just going to go ahead and fix it for the next one. The next inspector is going to find something completely different. So for some reason, this dude had a problem with not having grass in the backyard. And maybe that's just a personal thing for him. Maybe he bought a house and the grass died in the backyard and he's mad. He won't let it go. Who knows? What's that?
5 dogs.
Yeah, there you go. So there's always something. But, you know, you got upset about it, you know, pull back and say, all right, how do I get him to appraise it? And that's what I say, you know what? You know, I just got rid of my dog, or my dog died, or I've got 3 people quoting it right now. You know, they're quoting me, you know, this number and that number. I'm just working on a couple others. So can you give me can you give me the appraisal without that done and the appraisal with the backyard done? Since I'm paying for it, Mr. Appraiser. And then, you know, who knows? You know, who knows what you get, and then you kind of go from there. But that appraisal may be completely off from what you know. But if you were $5,000 on what you did and he was $5,000, you know, if you guys win $5,000, you're probably right on target with where your house needs to sell. So good for you being that close.
Yeah.
All right. Come on, somebody hit me with something tough.
So I'm about to have my first client, and
Excellent.
he's in the
Congratulations.
military. Thank you. And so, I'm so lost on this part. Like, do we have to go through a VA loan, like, or does he have other options? He doesn't know either, so he's actually depending.
He should
on
definitely
Go with a
go
VA.
through a VA loan from a veteran here, right here.
All right, so look, again, and I don't know if you caught this, make your world is big. Make your world big. You've got, say, look, you know what? That's not my expertise, but guess what? We've got people in our office. This is all they do every single day. I want you to talk with them.
Okay.
Kim will call them and explain the situation, you know, and you're off the hook. And, they're like, and when they talk to her,
On loans.
Okay.
Never.
yeah, so this is how good the Supreme people are. And I don't use them a whole lot. I've just started using them because now they're in the office. I've always supported whoever's in the office. Jennifer Barnes, so y'all know who Jennifer is. All right, so Jennifer has been here since, I think she wrote her first contract on a rock. Don't tell her I said that. But she basically says if Kim Neely cannot do the deal, it can't be done.
Yeah.
So when you have that kind of firepower behind you, you're going to be thrown all kinds of crazy situations, and she's going to tell you, she's going to call you and tell you, say, look, best option for them is the VA loan. Looks like they got this amount down, they got a couple little credit issues, you know, they're working through it. It's going to take them 2 or 3 months. What that does for you is this. First of all, it makes you look like you're a pro and everybody you deal with around you is a pro. Number 2, it's going to put you in a situation where you may not be wasting your time. Because believe me, that first transaction you get, you're completely geeked out. You're driving them all over the place. You're happy. You got that client, you know, you really don't know if they can afford it or not. You just want somebody in your damn car, right? Yeah, I just want to get a deal done. So they will be able to tell you, say, look, they can't do the deal for another 6 months, or they've got an issue here, or they've got to sell their house first, and then you got to help maneuver them through that process. I have an elderly lady right now that's trying to downsize. She's 90 years old. She's about this tall. She's from Jamaica, and man, she is a pistol. She's as sharp as a tack, and man, she's something else. But she goes, well, Paul, can I buy the other house? She wants to buy down. Her house is about $235. She wants to buy about $150 to $160 house, which is a tough price point. I've already had 3 or 4 offers on her $235,000 house because it's great, but I don't have a house to put her in. So she goes, well, can I buy both houses? I asked Kim. Kim has already been in contact with her. She goes, no way. She has to sell out before she can get them. So here I'm going to be juggling first of all, I gotta find a $150,000, $160,000 house, and I gotta juggle the closing of that one to the next. So, and it's gonna be an obstacle I gotta deal with, and it's gonna be a hard one to deal with. The money's not gonna be fantastic, but then, as long as you do the right thing on that one, then I'll have a $500,000 house fall in my lap next week. And I firmly believe that. If you do the right thing, good things will happen, and you know what's right or wrong. As long as you do what's right, and you're honest with folks, you'll win every time, I promise. And what you're gonna see as this business, as we start hitting this shift that we know that we're in now, you're gonna start seeing these people fall off to the wayside. You guys continue to take your coaching, continue to train in as many areas as you can, and you'll be standing when everybody else is getting out of business because they just don't have a clue.
So everybody's kind of speaking of this shift, like this whole mysterious thing. How do we make sure we don't, like, I guess it's the people that just fall off after, like, they get burnt out or something, or is there a wave that's about to happen?
Well,
There's a shift in the market.
there's a shift in the market. Right now, everybody thinks that, we're at the peak. We're actually already crested the peak. We're actually coming down.
Okay.
And so, because of that, the market really does a 5 to 7 year shift. And if you really think about it, think about the past. Some of you folks were 5 years ago were in. How are you folks?
35.
35, sure.
Not all of us.
Yeah, maybe so. So 5 years ago, y'all were in a different career, just somewhere else in your life, whatever. But if you really look back, or talk to your parents, talk to your parents, say, hey, in real estate throughout the years, your parents probably own multiple houses. Just sit down and have a conversation with them about how you made. And they'll say, oh yeah, back in I guess it was when I graduated, in 89, when it said, what was going on in 1989? Oh my gosh, your dad had just gotten that promotion, and we thought we could buy a bigger house, and interest rates were this, and we couldn't afford it. So you talk to them, but if you look at it, you're going to see that. And if you looked in the Shift magazine and the Shift book, you can see it does this 5 to 7 years. 5 to 7 years.
Where's the shift book or?
Amazon.
Yeah, you can
order it.
Oh, okay.
You can order it in the office.
Is that a Gary Keller book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the MREA and then Shift.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so read about, and basically what it tells you, and I'm going to tell you what's great about this for you guys is the shift, because everybody goes, oh my gosh, the market's about to slow. When things are good, things are good for everybody, and that's fine. What happens in a shift is what they basically tell you to do is you got to start cutting your costs.
Okay.
Now you guys, some of you aren't making a lot of money right now because you're relatively new, so you ain't got any costs to cut other than, so you don't have an assistant here, an assistant there, and you're trying to figure out, how do I spend my marketing dollars and things like that. Your job right now is to be on that phone generating those leads and letting everybody know that, hey, this is what I'm doing now and I want to help you or your friends. That's what you need to be doing. And that's what old agents that have been doing to do great numbers, that's what they have to do during the shift. They got to get back out of that comfort zone. I get my stuff, 90% of my work is referral. So I don't, but I've got probably 3,000 contacts in my phone, but I don't make phone calls. I need to be making phone calls. So my job is no different than what you guys should be doing, what they hammer in your head at night and all these training classes. Make those phone calls, send those letters, call those people.
But do you really need to make phone calls anymore? Like, are you comfortable where you feel like you don't? Because if you were hungry, meaning you weren't comfortable, and I mean, even seem like
I'm going to tell you something that's crazy. Yeah, I'm going to tell you something that's crazy about me. If I was at the Braves game and they said person sitting in seat 1202 gets to sing the national anthem, and I was sitting in 1202, I would get up and go down there and sing the national anthem. But I do not. I have a fear of phone calls. I'm better at this. I'm better at face to face.
We generate too.
And it's because that's how I grew up. I didn't grow up texting. I mean, when you want to go see your buddy, you got on your bike, you rode down to the street. We had a guy down the end of the road that he was the only guy in the neighborhood with a pool. Nobody liked him. But I'd have a towel around my neck and I'd drive down and go, hey, what's going on? You doing anything?
What's his name?
Yeah.
You know his name, don't you?
tell
still
them.
remember, you don't?
I forgot.
They said that's the desk at, C-disc, people like me.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We like to be one-on-one versus on the phone, behind the phone, so.
Yeah, I'm better in person with
Me
somebody
too.
than I am on phone. But I get it. Although I'm not embracing technology, I've got a 20-year-old son that's he's a computer science dude, and so he's into all that Snapchat and stuff. Posting dance vids or whatever you guys do on all that stuff. And I'm on the Facebook. Y'all want to friend me? I'll be your friend. So I get it
Can't call it
and
the
I
Facebook
understand it,
anymore.
but it's just not my thing. Yes.
Real time question. Back to this disclosure.
Perfect.
So I sent the disclosure. I took the refrigerator off, and somebody was about to send me an offer. Says, "Would you be open to the refrigerator staying?" I just wanted to check. What do I write back?
You write back and you say, I look forward to say, I'm not sure yet, but send me the offer, and it's something we can discuss at a later date. This is what you want to do when you sign that contract.
That's awesome.
Here's the thing: what you want to do when you sign that contract, you want that other side to start spending money. Right now, they ain't spending any money; they just spend a little time. The money is the inspection report. All right, good. There's $700 in. Get past that, and then you got a $500 appraisal. $1,100. Psychologically, I'm invested.
Right.
Even though you got a house that's $500,000, I'll walk away from $1,100 to not get in a bad situation.
Right.
But right now, they ain't committed to you.
Right.
Y'all aren't even dating. They didn't make a phone call. Yeah, they're stalking you now. Then you got to find out if you like them, and then you're dating. And so you want them to spend money and say, you know what, I really haven't thought about it, or you can say, send me the offer. Send me the offer. Put it in the offer, and we'll see if we want to. We'll see if we want to do that or not.
Put it in the offer, and we can discuss later.
Yeah, that's what I would do. And I try to get that down. And then here's the deal. Because you're going to be binding, you're going to have to agree to the terms, and you'll be binding before that inspection goes down. Say, I can't let you know on the refrigerator that I'm putting an offer on a house, and I may need it on my other house, but the other people said they may leave theirs. If they leave that, so keep them on there. Don't let them off the hook. Just kind of jerk it a little bit. They don't commit to it yet. And since you're
But if I accept the offer, aren't I accepting to leave the refrigerator?
No.
not necessarily, not at this
Not
point.
if you didn't put it in your.
You didn't put it in the disclosure.
But if
It's
they
your personal property right now. Yeah.
I'm saying if they put it in the offer and I say, okay, great, wonderful.
He's saying.
I'm saying
Tell them to go ahead and make an offer.
mark through it. This is what I do. If it's in there, mark through it and say, I think I may be able to leave that refrigerator for you, but as of right now, I'm negotiating on another house myself, and I'm trying to get them to leave the refrigerator. So just mark. So the initial thing is that you got to go from step one before you. Right now, you mark through it and you say no.
On their offer,
Yes.
even though I'm telling her to put it on the offer.
Yep.
Okay.
Tell her we can
Because
just.
you followed up
She
with-
thinks that you're saying
negotiating
to put
yours.
it in the offer.
Oh no.
What you're saying is put in an offer,
Yeah,
and we will negotiate
Yeah.
that later.
Tell
Right.
her.
Oh, okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
So you want them to put in an offer,
Put in, okay,
because
an offer.
what you're doing with that refrigerator, you're using that as a poker card. That's in your back pocket. So when some shit comes up later, then you go,
And the shit
Hey,
will come
guess
up
what?
later.
It always does.
It
this
always does.
refrigerator can
Right.
stay.
Yeah.
Right, in inspection,
what it
yeah.
is.
Yeah,
It
they're gonna
always
find
comes up
something
in
to say. But
inspection.
here's the deal.
Okay, then
There-
that makes sense. You see what I mean?
If I had a contract on every deal that an agent said, hey, I'm sending you a contract, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I'd be somewhere else in a big house on the
Until it's
water
in your
somewhere.
hand, it's
So,
not offered.
to me, right now, I think it's bull. Until she puts it right. Say, look, get it in writing, get me the offer in writing, and we can discuss what stays and what doesn't stay down the road. Your thing is, you want something in writing
You
now.
want the contract, you'll negotiate the refrigerator later,
Okay.
because you might need it. Yeah, you're right.
I just want the exact words. Somebody just give me a sentence. Dana,
What?
what's the sentence?
What do you say? What are you trying to
Just
say?
send me an offer and we can
just send me an offer and we
Yeah.
can discuss later.
That's where I would.
All right, so give me another problem you guys have had, or a question you've had that is maybe you got stuck on, or concerned about, or you have a construction question?
I have a issue.
Okay.
I don't know if you can really help with it, 'cause it just seems so like complicated, but.
Even if relationship related, I can go with it. I've had many girlfriends, roommates, and all
And
kinds
he's
of
been
crazy
married for
stuff.
28 years,
Yeah.
so he's got that negotiation down.
So I have a client who's moving from California, and I think they have this idea that the Atlanta market is so super cheap, you can get anything you want for under $400,000. So they want a house on the lake, and we found a house on the lake.
Which lake?
Well, this is like a little small community
Oh,
lake
okay.
in Conyers.
So it's
I was just
It's a
about
pond.
to say, go to
So far, so good. Location is good.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful community. The house was gorgeous. I mean, it is an older house. It needed some work. It needed a little work, but the structure was good and
Yep.
everything. And the beautiful thing is, like, the husband, he wants to retire here. He's gonna come in for work. He works in construction. And so he wanted to have a house where he could like have the lake, fish, and all of that.
Sure.
So you can access the like patio to see the lake from like every area, like the bedroom and the living room and the dining room and downstairs. And so it was just like, for me, it was great. I'm thinking perfect.
Gotcha.
So because they're in California, I had to video chat with the wife, show her the house. She was in love with it. Husband said, make the offer. The wife loves it. I said, okay, fine.
What's the list price?
It was for $415.
Okay.
So anyway, we had to do the inspection. And so I wasn't there for the inspection. I had to go out of town. So the wife flew in for the inspection, and they found issues with like, I guess it was a stucco, because it's a stucco
Yep.
house. It was like the cut, and then there was something with stucco letting moisture.
Yeah.
And it was something, other things to me that were fixable, like rodents in the attic. And just the fact that it was,
What if
yeah, I mean,
somebody?
but to me that's fixable though. It's not like.
Yeah, those are bumps and bruises. You're
Yeah.
looking for broken bones.
Right.
So,
And
all right, so what was, was their response like,
So
oh my
the
gosh?
wife was crying. She was like,
Oh, my
They want
this is like, I'm so disappointed. You know, this is like, this house have so many issues. And I mean, the inspector pretty much, you know, he did his job. Like,
Sure.
he basically tore it to pieces. He was like, this is wrong. I mean, but it was small things to me that was like fixable. The wife said something about the bathroom sinks were too low, which I didn't see a problem with them. She was like, I'm tall. And she was 5'10". I'm like, that's not really that tall.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was smaller issues to me, but
Well,
they
and all
wanted
that-
to terminate. I'm like, you want to terminate this? You're not going to be able to find all of this for the price point, you know. And so it was frustrating for me because I'm like, do you want me to go lower the price? I can negotiate for you. And they're like, no, we're disappointed. Didn't think that it would have this many issues. But it's like, what do you do with that when you have a family who's out of state?
You've got to have them, first of all, they're going to have to lose a couple of houses. That's just, so that they come down to earth and realize that, hey, everything at 400 that we really want and our price point we want to be at, we can't get. We're going to have to spend 500 or whatever to get exactly what we want. So all you can do is navigate them through that and say, look, you know, again, you're making your world big here. So you say, you know, should we get some contractors to look at some of those things and see if they're big issues? I don't think that they are. I've got a builder on my team that I can run their inspection report by, and we can chat with them about it and say, you know, is this a common issue? You know, there's going to be different, you know, let them know that if they're from California, you know, temperature, everything's different in California than here. I mean, we don't really have 4 seasons anymore. We probably, you know, kind of overlap those now, but I mean, we got a lot of moisture here and things like that.
Right.
Stucco is a problem. I built houses that were stucco for John Whelan in East Hampton, and they're a problem. But by the time they're on every house, then you realize 20 years down the road, they're a problem, just like the Atlas Chalet shingle. I used to use that shingle, and you see what happens with that if you guys have had those issues on your inspection reports. But, so that's what you have to do. You're gonna have to, they're gonna be a little longer process. The problem is, can you imagine being an agent back in the 70s when you had to wait for the printed book for the listings? See, now everything is instant. Yeah, and that Simon, we got a book at one of our ALC meetings, or somebody had mentioned it, and I bought the book, Simon Sinek. And the dude is brilliant, but he talks about the millennials or the younger people, the problem that he has with them when he's talking with them. And the problem is this, is that you guys are used to having everything instant. But the two things you can't have instant is job advancement and relationships. Can't get those instant. You know, you gotta, you know, he even talked about his wife, and I'm no different from my wife. I met her in college. You've got to have that awkward conversation with that other side at some point. You know, hey, you know, but that's just, yeah. And now you guys can text and snap, you know, and just, you know, and you don't have to do that. And I noticed that with my son. My son, you know, he's got his first girlfriend, and they text, and you know, but talking, they don't really talk a lot, but they're together a lot, but they, you know, texting and doing it that way. So it's different. So what you're going to have to do is you've got to build that relationship, and it's going to take time. But they're going to know this. They're going to know, you know what? She's showing us houses. She's working hard. She hasn't given up on us. She's sending us stuff. And it may take you a little longer to find them a house, but eventually they're going to realize that I got to spend $5 to get what I want. Right. Or she's right, there is nothing at $400. Or, and you need to explain to them the Atlanta market in general, inventory's low. It's just low. So at all price points, you know, it's low unless you get to that $1.5 million range. So just, you know, that's just a conversation you got to have with them. But as long as you're staying engaged and you're building that relationship with them, that, you know, that's all you can do. And it may be one of the, you know, you may sell them a house, it may be 1.5 years down the road. Yeah. You know, so you need to be thinking about your instant stuff. You know, keep them in, you know, you're continuing to communicate with them.
And I was gonna say, if you set that expectation, like I have a client from California, and I FaceTimed them a house, literally no backyard, and it was kind of a cliff. And she was like, oh my God, is that gonna just slide down the side of the hill? And I was like, no, we don't have mudslides here.
No.
You know, so, I mean, and she really didn't know.
Right.
She hadn't lived in the South.
Right.
And, you know, I said, but what we do have is mold. There are lots of different kinds of mold, so don't let that scare you. You know, but if you go ahead and prepare them and let them know that these are issues that you will find, because we're in Georgia and our climate just,
It's pollen.
And you
pollen,
you know,
yeah,
it's
the thing that you've got also is you've got access to all these stats and everything, so you can let them know what the $400,000 market is in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can say, look, this is how many houses are on the market in 400, so it just lets you know these have been listed for a long time, which means they're probably in bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
The good ones go immediately, so if we do find you the right house, you got to be able to move immediately. You know, there's no let me think about it and I'll get back with you and I'll fly in on Tuesday. It'll be gone.
Right.
So once you set those expectations up front, you know, I think you'll be fine with it. But you did it exactly the right way. I mean, you know, hey, wait a minute, you know, let's pursue this a little bit. You know, you spent X amount. You know, look, they spent money on that inspection. What did it cost?
I think 700 or 800.
Yeah.
It was a 5,000.
Yes. So there's $700 into this thing. You would think, you know, $700 is $700. It's not chicken feed. I think I just went to Disney World last week. I spent $700 on a snow cone. That's the most expensive place I've ever seen. So $700 is $700. So you say, look, let's see these things. You know, you got to calm them down. They're freaking out because they're like, oh, it's heavy. You know, mentally they bought the house. Mentally he's fishing out back. You know, he's in. He's all in. And then all of a sudden this comes up and it, you know, kind of bursts in there. Look, let's calm down and keep everything.
You gotta take the emotion out of it.
Set some traps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also.
It's cute. No, he wanted it done too.
Yeah.
They're gonna come in on Friday. Well, she's gonna come Friday.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday.
What other areas?
right, so you said you're about to get your license?
I have my license, but I'm just auditing this class with for Keller Williams in general. I'm interviewing.
Oh, yeah, okay. So what'd you do before deciding to get your?
I was in school.
Oh, okay. Where you go to school?
Like university for nutrition, something totally different. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can put everybody on a diet?
Yeah.
So you're the meal plan person for everybody. Don't eat that. Get some good snacks in the vending machine up there.
Come on Wednesday, you'll see us.
All right, is anybody else moving from a different career that's just got into this? What'd you do before this?
Construction.
Oh, you did? Okay. So,
Project manager in construction.
see, perfect.
Building houses.
There you go. See, man, you're a rock star already. And the way that, and that's exactly what, when I go into somebody, I'm still a licensed contractor, I got a partner that runs it, but I walk in there and say, my background's really construction, and this is where I'm really gonna be able to help you is get you to closing, because when these guys start throwing all this BS at you, this is this, gonna cost $5,000, all this, you'll be able to see through all that.
Yeah.
So play that card, because that's what I do.
You bring it up even though if I'm new. So that's my hard thing is if you bring it up, it's like, oh yeah, I used to do that 6 months ago. Like I'm brand new.
You don't have to say you're new.
I really don't.
Yeah. And I had a hard time transitioning because when I was building, I was, Street of Dreams, in Builder Magazine. I mean, I had a lot of, I had a crisis here on what I'm doing. Am I a builder or am I a real estate guy? It took me a long time to get away from, I'm not a builder anymore. That's what I did. That's what defined me. And then when I became an agent, I had to transition that over there, but I still play that builder role.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. So play that strength that you know that you've done, whatever that experience is. If it's a financial background, be great with numbers. If you're a construction guy, be great with construction. Just play that. How about you? What'd you do before this?
I was in luxury retail management.
Luxury retail management.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your expertise? Are you good at
I've
decorating?
done advertising too. So yeah, I could
Okay.
do visual. We would do like staging, and then play off, like run the numbers and see is that getting you anywhere.
Yeah.
If not, switch it out. That kind of thing.
There you go. See that? Don't look. I know it's intimidating. I mean, again, I see problems every day that cause problems. But whatever your background is, you guys are old enough where you've got experience somewhere. Even though you're like, oh my gosh, real estate's completely different from what I've ever done.
I feel like I've done sales
Yeah.
my whole life.
Yeah. So you're okay with that. So but just embrace that knowledge that you already have and figure out how to twist and turn it into the real estate thing. And that's what separates you different. Because like I said, all you got to do is get on the web and says, oh, I'm great at customers. Everybody has the same, tells you the same crap about how good they are. I follow up with my customers and I'm customer service oriented. Everybody does that.
Yeah.
But find that uniqueness about you and make sure that you ride that
Or actually
and
do it.
make it work. Yeah,
Follow up.
exactly. And just work it in. How about you? What did you do before you?
Really exciting stuff. I worked for Morehouse and I worked as a healthcare IT professional and helped doctors achieve meaningful use stage.
So you're an IT person. So do you like that?
She was being facetious when she said really exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell by our tone. I can tell by our tone. It's like. So you're IT. So what you need to do is like with Andrew, for instance, our tech guy. You need to embrace all that new technology coming, and you'll be ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Because that's what us old timers are fighting. We fight the technology. So just find that thing. But all right, any other questions? Y'all ready to get out of here? Y'all got any other questions or? Yes.
I have a question. I
didn't ask you what you did. What did you?
I was actually a student too.
Okay. What's your major?
I got a business and marketing degree.
Okay, cool. That's why I got a mark.
So this is like my first career?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been challenging.
That's okay. It's the real world. You live in the real world now. It's not all getting up at noon and going to class when you want to. You gotta get it every day. I get it.
But my question was, I asked it last night and I kind of didn't get an answer. But so for the Cappers program, I decided to do 6 months, and it's saying we're supposed to make 100 contacts a week.
Okay.
So outside of cold calling, like, what does that look like realistically as far as meeting people and making those contacts?
All right, so what is your social world like? What you gotta be now is you gotta be purposeful. And I missed out on, I go to every, being in Dallas County, I go to all the chamber events. I go to, you know, anytime there's an open house somewhere or any type of, you know, function, you know, the mortgage people, again, plug into those guys, they're always doing happy hours and things like that, and you go and you meet people and stuff like that. So all those things count. So, are you from Atlanta?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, you got a group of friends you hang with? Not really?
We're all realtors.
All right, so where did you graduate?
Clayton State.
Clayton State, okay.
I went to Clayton State.
See? There's your one, you got 99 contacts to go. Unfortunately, she's in the same business. But, so that's what you gotta do. You just gotta, again, make your world, you know, join some clubs, join social things. You know, what do you like to do? Do you paint? Do you play the fiddle? You know, what do you like to do?
I like to play tennis and swim.
Okay, cool.
And you have a keep out.
Yeah, so you get playing in Alta League.
Go to the dog
Is it Alta or Alta?
dog park.
Alta,
Your name
okay.
tag on the dogs.
Oh my god.
What's your business card?
I feel like one
You should
day,
get him. That's a great idea. No, I'm telling you, one day I put a shirt on him that literally said, "Wanna buy a house" on the shirt, and everybody ignored him that day.
And you have to act like he's missing. Like, have you seen our dog?
He's wearing a shirt that says "Wanna buy a house"?
It said "Wanna buy a house."
Yeah.
He was like socially walking around, and
He's a
they
strutter.
ignored him.
Aww.
I was like, oh, okay.
Wear your
Let's not
name
do
tag
that.
to the grocery store and strike up conversations with people.
Exactly.
It's hard.
I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah, I'm just thinking,
Are you
how do I
going to
come up
open
with that?
houses?
Not yet. I'm gonna start this week.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's
just,
like-
yeah, it is difficult. I mean, all you can be is nice to people and say hi to them and just you're gonna have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier in that group of people that you know the tennis thing or the swim thing and stuff like that when you go to those places. Because when you really think about it, you really think about those people. You go get gas and make talk to 5 people by accident. You know, when you get out and you make eye contact with a lady over there, like, hey man, gas is going up, or whatever. Just figured, little mini conversations. That my son's an introvert, and what I used to get him to do in high school is he's gotten a lot better as he's grown up and he's gotten away from the parents. But when I go in a room, and I think what really scarred him was that when I went in a room, you give me about 30 minutes and I'm gonna own the room. I'm gonna know everybody in there. I'm gonna talk to you. That's just how I work. He always felt like he had to be like me, and so he just always was stressed out about that. I said, look, keep it simple. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, when you go into school, I said, hold the door for someone, and they're gonna say thank you, and you just say you're welcome, and then end it.
Yeah.
Back out of the conversation done. You made that one little first step of thank you, and then next time say, hold the door for them again and say, oh, it's a nice day. Yeah, it is, and then. If they're engaging, and then try, and then it got to where, so I had to teach my son how to have a conversation, and that's hard. It's not an easy. It's not an easy.
It doesn't come easy to everybody.
Yeah, and so you're just gonna have to work at it, but the good thing is that you're aware of it. Most people aren't aware of it, but they don't want to have a conversation. So you're aware of it, and you know what you need to do.
Yeah, because I'm an I, but I'm kind of like a shy eye. Like, I'm not an initiator.
Yeah.
But like, if we start talking or whatever, we fall into conversation, I'll talk to you all day, but I'm not just gonna be like.
So your initiation,
Yeah.
you being the initiator is gonna be you joining those groups and clubs and everything, because that's easy, because you're gonna go in there and you're gonna be around 10, 12, 15 people that are like you, and you have to say hi and then have coffee or do whatever you're gonna do to meet those people. So that's how you need to approach it. So embrace that.
And what I've learned is, besides in an Uber or a Lyft, this is not counting an Uber or a Lyft, but most people that you interact with actually want to talk to you too.
Yeah.
Like, people want to talk. So
And they want to talk about themselves.
Yes. So if you're just a listener,
Yeah.
you're gonna make them feel some type of way. They just want to hear themselves talk.
That's right.
My husband got on my nerves today. My kids are driving me crazy. My dog ran away. Whatever.
And some outshine popsicles. And this lady was like,
And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh my God, are those skinny cow popsicles? We had a whole conversation about popsicles for like 15 minutes. And I was like, oh yeah. And she saw my name tag. She's like, oh yeah, we're gonna go with, oh yeah, I know, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, the name tag thing's good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
you
really?
Don't have one
That's
on
not
right now. What is your name?
Yeah, I know.
She knows.
and I'll tell you this.
I called it out earlier.
And she did. She called us back.
We went to ALC retreat and we were talking about relationships and stuff, and I was talking to trying to think of the guy that was running it. And he said being an introvert, he goes, is actually a blessing. And I'm like, because for 20 years of my son, I was always trying to get him to come out of that shell and just be social and not, because everybody liked him. He did a lot of activities. A really nice kid. And he goes, being an introvert is a blessing because you think deeper. And that was just like a mind blowing. And when I told him that, and that's exactly right. He's very, very quiet. So his senior quote, everybody does their senior quote at the end of the year. His Abe Lincoln said it. It's better to keep your mouth shut and be thought of as a fool than to open your mouth
It'd be known.
and that was such a great, because he's in class he says, the teacher would go, all right, Paul, we'll just talk to you later, and everybody just kind of chuckled because they knew he wasn't going to talk in class. So, but he got better at it, and he sends me, second year in college, sends me a presentation he had to do in front of a group, which completely blew me away. It was so out of character for him, but he did this whole presentation, so he's gotten better. So it's going to be work, just like anything else is, but it's your first gig. You got that marketing degree, so you're going to be fine. So just look to the other folks in here on how they're doing it, and just be nice to people, smile, be kind to them, make eye contact with them, and either they'll think you're a nice person or you want to kill them. And if they run, they think you're a killer. Like, we're sold my house anyway.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's all good.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome. Anything else? So look, I'll put my number up here. So if y'all have a question or a problem or just want to run something by me.
I talked to Shantae.
Don't tell me that. I'm actually call you.
I know. I can already tell you're gonna get me in trouble.
And I was like, girl, why did
But
you sit there?
yeah. So y'all call me. Y'all have a question. You get an inspection report. You have a question. Shoot me the photo and say, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
But we're all on the same team. We're all on the same team.
Is your wife an introvert?
No. She is. I'm a D with a little bit of I, and she's an SC.
Gotcha.
And but very social, but very intelligent too. So she's kind of a she doesn't. She's fine. She can stay in front of the computer and never leave the office.
Yeah.
Or she can go out and social. I get my energy from this. She gets her energy from being behind the scenes.
My husband's an introvert, like, and he, I mean, it's kind of like that thing how you like, in 30 minutes you know everybody. So he's like, just, people, you kind of walk into a room and you suck all the air out of it. It's like you don't mean to, but people just kind of gravitate. And I was like, that doesn't sound like a compliment. I was like, I'm an I. That's not a compliment. He's like, no, I mean in a good way.
I was just saying, I and I see you have like
what is what? Well, you know what you have to do.
I mean, but
What if you're
I would have an but definitely tell them
We can have like a team, so listen, I have
I always complain.
I'll ask
I have to go kind of new, kind of 4 years.
Elizabeth, right?
I've been like about 3 weeks. Thank you, thanks.
You're making me do something for you.
Okay.
So it's like in February.
Okay, yeah, so y'all are already there.
I'm gonna need to change one word.
Okay.
He's a really great tool and like, since everything's in there, you pretty much can like we're in our own squad.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like we're going to be at that
They always get very close.
but now we're like, figure out my process and
But I'm really just not that I hear about it.
we'll go one more place and on.
You know, put my face out there. Instead of checking it out, see what it's like.
Now, I just stay out there all day and night.
Right now, I'm just trying to.
So just your exciting stuff. Stay comfortable. Thank you so much.
You ever watch Quantum Leap?
All right, everybody, good
I
luck.
used to watch Quantum Leap, the show.
Okay.
Wow.
Hey, I watched Quantum Leap. That show was
Did you?
legit.
Good luck.
Yeah, man, duh.
Then yeah, that's it. Quantum Leap. I've never watched. Now I'll look it up though.
It's from like the night,
You're welcome. Bye.
like early 90s. Who was the guy that was? Hold on.
Yeah, I'm an early '90s guy.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes.
So I'm looking for open house calls this weekend. You have
I talked to them on the phone. I just yes. Have you not messaged
This
me
guy.
yet? This guy. No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
You know-
Scott Bakula. That's
Scott
his name.
Bakula. So the lady at Chick-fil-A in Douglasville says I look like Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
but see, to me, they
see that.
Where do you live in Douglasville? That's my place.
And then people said I look like John Smoltz from the picture.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, you look like that's. Yeah, you look like John Smoltz. Yeah. That was my. That was my dude.
I don't know if I've got one.
I was a Smoltz man. Them early 90s bros, man, I'd be like in front of the TV.
Coming up, I can put you on.
I'd be like
I
6
do
years
have
old,
a
I
house
was like,
yeah.
We've been on the market a long time. We're over.
Let me see what my
It's a
back's
great
are.
house. I think it gets some traffic.
That's all.
Have you been to the open house seminars and all the stuff they're doing
I
here?
did the shadowing and then they also went over it in the grade. I've been an agent for a year, so I've done.
Okay, cool.
Then I'm new to this role.
Yeah, good.
Gotta go range.
Good, well, welcome. Glad to have you.
I
You
thought
call
you
me if
did.
you got
I'm
any
allergic to
questions.
chemo.
Okay.
All right, good seeing you.
Have a good one.
All right, see you.